What up, G-Life? It's your boy MC Shadow back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share if possible because it does help my channel. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button. You know, it helps my channel a lot and it's free. It don't cost anything. Now, what I wanted to talk about was a question I was asked was, how bad is gangbanging right there in Southern California? How bad was it growing up from your experiences? Like, was it really as bad as people say it was? And yes, the battles down here were that bad. Now, why were they that bad? Because you have a lot of neighborhoods, you know, a lot of different neighborhoods. You know, everybody was doing their thing, you know what I mean? Especially back then, everybody was active, you know what I mean? The number of individuals in these neighborhoods, it was outrageous. And you had them, you know, everywhere, including, you know, people be like, oh, but you from the San Fernando Valley, how bad could it be? And the San Fernando Valley has a lot of gangs, my boy. You know what I mean? And it's still LA, you know what I mean? Because LAPD patrols our streets. That's who we're getting arrested by. We're getting arrested by LAPD. You know, not San Fernando Valley PD. We're getting arrested by LAPD, my boy. So, the fact that people think that it's different is ridiculous. Anywho, you know, especially, you know, we're coming out of the area of North Hollywood. You know, so it's Hollywood, north of Hollywood. Anywho, so it was getting chaotic. Now, how bad could it possibly be? Just to give you an idea, am I no way glorifying or promoting or any of that? I'm just talking from my past experiences, and I don't mean to offend nobody or none of that. You know what I mean? Just for people to get an over idea, you know, of what we were talking about right here. Because, you know, keep this in mind, it's just not us. Because there were all these neighborhoods were pretty much, you know, going through the same thing as well themselves. Like, for example, in my neighborhood, we have a lot of beef. Just in the city of Pacoima alone, there's about 15 gangs. And we beefed it with like about 13 of those gangs, just in the city of Pacoima. So that's 13 enemies off the bat. And then we beefed it with No Hollywood Boys, Glanton, 18, MS, Ali Locos, CMK, PN. We beefed it with Barra Van Ice. We beefed it with, my bad. We beefed it with Vanoan. We beefed it with Tokers. We beefed it with Burbank 13. We beefed it with, we had beef with Langdon. We had beef with, some Valley Diablos. We had beef with, you know, just like a bunch of like off crews as well. So that in itself is maybe like about 30 neighborhoods. El Clanton, obviously. You know, almost everybody in North Hollywood, to be honest with you. So that in itself is already like 30 enemies. You know, if you counted them. It's like about 20, like 25 to 30 gangs right there in itself. And these gangs are all large. You know what I mean? Well, for the most part. So, so 30 enemies. And you could bike it to all these locations. You could literally grab your bike and bike it to these locations. So that's how close we're talking about. So that's not a bullshit. That's not speculation. Those are facts. You know what I mean? So now 30 enemies that you beef it with. So you can only imagine. And we're not the only gang that's like that. There's a lot of gangs that have equally the same amount of beef. It's because you're raising these individuals to be tough, to not let themselves for nobody, to hold their own, to put it down and all of that. So you're teaching these individuals to don't let themselves anywhere. So when another group tries to like come and like, you know, press on you, you're not gonna let yourself, and neither side wants to back down. It creates pleito. So that's how you're raising these individuals to be, just to take flight, to never let themselves, because if not you get beat downs, you know what I mean? Right here they apply that pressure, and right here they make sure that everybody puts in work, you know what I'm saying? And make sure that you're out there doing your thing, you know what I mean? And now you get a hot one. So individuals were putting in work, dog. So you can only imagine the kind of chaos we're talking about right here. So 30 vatos, you were getting it every single day, dog. It was going down, my boy. If it wasn't with one barrio, I know other spots, you know, there's only like 3 gangs here or 2 gangs there, or maybe like 4 gangs or whatever, the max. So you hardly bump into each other at all, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you guys bump into each other like 3 days out of the week, or 2 days out of the week, you know what I'm saying? You know, in other locations. While right here, you're bumping into each other about like 3 times a day. A day, my boy, a day. I'm not making that up. A day we were throwing putazos maybe like about 3 times a day, my boy. A day with different barrios. You couldn't go nowhere. If you went anywhere, my boy, you were gonna throw blows, dog. You were gonna throw blows. You were gonna be throwing blows. Anywhere you wanted to go to the movies, to the boulevard, anything like that, my boy, you had to go already knowing that it was gonna go down. No ifs, no buts about it, my boy. It was gonna go down. It's not like it might go down or whatever. And the thing is that right here is, if you see the enemies right there, even if you're outnunbered, you know what I mean? You see the enemigos, they're right there posting. You guys are outnumbered. You're still expected to take flight on them. Not that, oh, okay, well, we won't trip unless they tell us something. Then we'll take off. No, you were expected to take flight, homie. Like, the homies would have been like, what? The enemies were there, and what you fools do? You fools didn't do nothing? That's how it would have been. You could have been like, well, we were outnumbered. That homies ain't gonna give a fuck. They ain't gonna listen to your story. You were expected to do your thing, to perform. You know what I mean? Serious talk, you know what I mean? And they mean perform, not argue. Slight error. Yeah, you were expected to perform. You know what I mean? You know, no ifs or buts about it. You know, they were expecting for you to take flight, you know, handle your business, right here, down here. So you can imagine, you know, the Hudas getting called all over the damn place, you know what I mean? Because there was action going down all over the place. That's why when they said that, how bad it was really bad. That's why it's not as bad as it used to be, you know what I mean? Before it was horrendous. You know, so there is progress happening little by little. A problem at this magnitude, this big, is not going to get solved overnight. It takes time, you know what I mean? With something that's this serious and this big that affects so many people, it takes time for these problems to get fixed. It's not going to happen overnight where you just wake up and all of a sudden the gang problem stops. You know what I mean? There's been progress. Little by little, it's happening. You know, because the gangs are not as deep as they used to be. The gangs are not as active as they used to be. No gang is as active as how they once were. So, you know, the numbers are getting smaller. The activity is getting less. It's happening little by little, homie. You know, little by little, less of these individuals want to become gang members. So there's a progress that's been happening, you know. I know people don't see it because they just want the gang problem to stop and everything like that. And I know people hear about shootings and stuff like that, but they're not all gang related, you know what I mean? A lot of these shootings, you know, are not even gang related at all. So the problem is not as it once was. It's still a problem. It's still bad, obviously, nonetheless. But there's been progress happening, you know what I mean? And like I said, it's little by little. With a problem like this big, it's not a light switch. It doesn't just, you know, you just can't, you know, off and on overnight, you know what I mean? It's something that happens, you know, with progress. And I think that there has been progress because, like I said, these times are not like how they were back then, you know. Now, you know, neighborhoods, you know, give passes. You know, there's certain neighborhoods that smash beef, you know, out there, you know. You know, there's, you know, peace treaties in places as well. So there, you know, there's been progress, little progress, but some, you know what I mean? And like I said, I'd rather have a little bit of something than a whole lot of nothing, you know what I mean? If you ask me. But that was the purpose of this video, you know, to show people that there is progress, that people just have to be patient. You know, because this problem doesn't get solved overnight. I know people, you know, feel like just abandoning the, you know, the thing in general. Like, no, keep pushing your message of positivity. It is. People are hearing it, are listening to it. You know what I mean? Maybe not at the magnitude that we would like it, but nonetheless, if you're able to reach out, if you're able to reach it and convince like 3 people, my boy, that's already something. So, you know, don't give up on the progress, you know what I mean? Like I said, I know sometimes it feels like, you know, no progress is being made because you see there's progress being made, you know what I mean? Trust me, those who really out here in the streets, or were really out here in the streets, could see it, you know what I mean? You hear about individuals complaining about it all the time, like, oh, it's not like how it used to be. It's not like how it used to be, and that's a good thing. That's what you want. That's the whole purpose of these damn fucking, you know, the message of these videos and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? That's what you want. You want, you know, progress. You don't want to be, you know, fucking, you know, just abandon it and just let everything go back to shit, you know what I mean? People just gotta be patient. Because like I said, like there was all that beef, even us with some neighborhoods, the beef is not what it once was. It's, we put it aside, and you know what I mean, and shit like that. And back then, you were, the thought of stuff like that even happening, you would have been seen as like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, what you mean? Nah, hell nah. You know what I mean? So it's been happening. I could tell you. You know what I mean? Someone that's still out there, whatever. I could tell you that progress is being made. You know what I mean? We could all see it. You know what I mean? And even homies able to come to the table with other neighborhoods and talk their differences aside and put it to the side. That in itself is monumental. You know what I mean? Because they are occurring. You see it happening not only with small gangs, but even with big gangs like Florence and the East Coast and certain and more neighborhoods out there like Inglewood and the Bloods. You know what I mean? The Barrio Inglewood and the Blood. Like there's certain stuff that's happening that's good. You know what I mean? That's good for the community. That's good. You know what I mean? So people shouldn't just abandon hope or think that nothing is what the fuck, nothing's really happening, and the people that are talking don't know, my boy, because they weren't out there when shit was really going down. So I could tell you that that progress is being made, because like I said, that's how much it was really going down, compared to how it is now. It still goes down, but just not at the magnitude that it once was. So slowly but surely progress. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion on the matters. You just gotta have faith in your message, and know that your videos do reach out to people, because I do get messages and emails for people telling me that they were thinking of getting into crews or gangs, but watching my videos and several other channels as well, that we made them realize what's really going on and why they're really feeling like this, and etc. You know what I mean? Young kids, you know what I mean? I could tell by their lingo and their slang. I could tell these guys are young bucks. You know what I mean? And even like homies who were just like like trying to leave it behind, but not knowing if it will be a weak move, or like, you know what I mean, like just confused, I guess. And we bring clarity to their mind, ease their minds. So it is touching people, it is reaching people. Or I've gotten parents that help me, my videos help them understand why their kids probably act the way that they act and are rebelling and stuff like that. I've gotten a lot of touching stuff, homie, that honestly it feels good. And it feels good, and it's cool, to know that that people actually are giving a motherfucker, are hearing a motherfucker out. Like who would have thought? You know what I mean? Anybody was gonna hear us out or whatever. Growing up, we always thought we were legitimately good for nothing, like the world was telling us. You know what I mean? That we will never do nothing with ourselves. That we're no good for nothing. That we should just die and shit like that. You know what I mean? No motivation, no positivity. No, you know what I mean? No reason on why to change. So the fact that like people are actually hearing us out is crazy. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Gives a reason of why to push for a positive light, instead of being like the rest of the society that was always just talking shit to us and saying that we would never amount to nothing or never make a difference or none of that. You know what I mean? So why even fucking change? You know what I mean? If the world sees us like this, you get what I'm saying? It built up a lot of anger. We weren't able to see that back then. Now we're able to be more clear-minded and see it, because obviously we're older. But when you're younger, you're not gonna be able to see that, and when you come at kids like this, it's only gonna make shit worse, dog. It's never gonna be for the better, dog. That I could honestly tell you 100. Because I remember the feeling still. Being like thinking that we're useless or insignificant. You know what I mean? But it's crazy. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? That's just my opinions on the matter, and shadow we out.